Hi, friends. Welcome to My Divorce Real Estate. I'm Amber Gifford.
And this is Scotty Gifford.
We are here today to talk about it's kind of heavy, but I really wanted to cover this topic because I hear it a lot. And it was one of the questions I had when I was going through a divorce.
Hmm.
So, question is, how do we tell the kids we're getting a divorce?
This is a tough topic to cover because everyone might have their own take on it, and we only can talk about how we did it and what we did that was right, and maybe
Right.
what we did that was wrong.
Right. So we're not counselors or attorneys, and this is just what worked or didn't work for us. And I wanted to share because I do hear all the time. And I ask people too, like, how do we tell them? And sometimes you don't even have to tell them. Maybe somebody just moves out and it's a toxic situation. And, every situation is different, but I'm just going to speak from my own experience. So I'll go first. So when I was going through my divorce in 2016, started in 2015, that was one of my burning questions. And we were in counseling. I'm like, how do I tell them? And I was like, I don't even know how this is going to be horrible. And I had talked to some other people that had been through it. And I got the recommendation that you need to tell them and have like an activity after to take their mind off of it. And I was like, okay. I mean, we were all living under the same roof at the time. I could understand how a deterrent, right?
Hmm.
Kids need deterrence all the time. You're giving them this heavy piece of information. So it happened to be Halloween weekend, and our neighborhood had like a big trick or treat thing, and we were going to carve pumpkins with just us. And it's always a big to do on the street that we lived on. So I was like, well, I guess this is the time that we tell them because we have an activity. I wasn't thinking like, let's color in a coloring book. I was thinking like something bigger activity wise because I guess that's how it was portrayed to me. So in my mind, I thought that, but yeah, it was not the best decision.
Telling him on Halloween not to go.
It wasn't Halloween night, but it was like the weekend of, and so which happens to be like a few days before my daughter's birthday. Not smart again. And of course, telling them we sat them down, which was awful. And the only reason the little ones cried is because the bigger one cried, and it was like that's a lot of information to throw at them. So the actual verbal, hey, your dad and I are choosing not to live together anymore, and we're gonna get separate houses, is probably up there as the number two worst conversations ever to have.
Hmm.
um, but kids are resilient, and that part was pretty horrible. But I think my takeaway from this really and truly is like, so now my kids stigma, oh yeah, we remember Halloween, you told us you were getting a divorce. Mom fail, dad fail. I mean, we were busy. We told them, and it was horrible, and crying and all this stuff. And then like, okay, let's go carve pumpkins. So we were in the garage carving pumpkins, and then it was like nothing. It was just kind of weird. Like I almost feel like it's better not to make a big to do over it because it's this big thing. It's hanging over you, and like they literally just went on playing, and
Yeah.
they were in elementary school too. So it was just not the right way to handle it. So I did want to share that because I hear people say all the time, I do love the idea of having something planned after so you're not just sitting around staring at each other or,
Yeah.
hey, well, I'm going to go to my room, you go to your room, or I don't know. It's just awkward. So, and hopefully you can be in the same space to comfort and love on your children and be together. But if you can't, you need to be that rock for them, and never say, well, your dad wanted this, your mom wanted this. It's like the
Yeah.
worst thing ever to say as a kid. I'm child of divorce 7 times over, and I've been told that. You don't want to think that way about your parent.
Yeah. I think that's a good. That's a big piece of advice right there. Don't be blaming the other person while you're telling the kids that, because at the end of the day, the kids love both of you, right? And
They
you love the
do.
kids, so it's like just to dump on them other like hard feelings or your things if you're upset about and processing yourself, just not in front of the kids. That's probably not a conversation you want to be having in front of the kids. And I think we have learned that at the end of the day, like no matter if if you're fighting with your soon to be ex, like that's hurting the kids no matter what, right? It's so you fighting in front of them while you're telling them you're getting a divorce,
Oh
not a
gosh.
good idea.
No.
So making
No.
sure that you guys are in a good space each other and can tell them together is a good recommendation though.
Yeah. I mean, and if you have to do it separately, as long as you're not like bashing the other parent, because I'll tell you the truth, and I've lived this being a child of divorce with all the people coming in and out of my life as a kid. Like the person who's crapping on the other person is the one who has the most damaging relationship with the kids.
Yeah.
You may not see it now and you think, oh, I'm getting them on my side and they're going to know what their dad is like or their mom is like, and you're a loser father, mother, whatever. You're really and truly just damaging your own relationship with them. And if it's not going to happen now, it will happen later. Because I remember the crappy things that were said to me about the parent that I loved. And I love them both.
Yeah.
And you don't know what to do with that information as a kid. You're like, well, should I hate him too?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
love him. How can I hate him? Like, I don't understand. Mom hates him. Should I hate him? Dad hates him. It
Yeah.
is super confusing as a child, and you internalize and think things. So if you think you're getting the upper hand by talking smack about your ex, you're actually the loser in it.
Yeah, that is a great piece of advice there too. Like letting them know that that is not a good plan.
No, every eye roll, even like, and our therapist had told us that too. Your ex-husband like says something, you go, oh God, and they see that. It's a stab in their heart because they love them and they don't need to know about your personal issues. There are things that are appropriate per age.
Yes.
You know, you can have conversations later, but the big thing here was I do love the idea of having to do something if you're having to tell them, like a sit down kind of thing like we did.
Probably not a cross country road trip or something like
You know, a puzzle, you know, we're going to go to the zoo afterwards, you know, and we have plenty of clients who are very amicable and told them together and it was hard and then they did something. I just don't recommend doing on a national holiday or some sort of holiday that
or their birthday.
yeah, or that they forever go, oh, I remember that Halloween like mine.
Well, I
Sorry,
think
guys.
It is going to be a memory that sticks with them probably forever.
Yeah.
You know, because it is anything that is scary or frightening is kind of going to get internalized.
I don't remember mine telling me though. I mean, I was in kindergarten the first time. I just remember, and maybe I blocked it out. I just remember we moved. She's like, yeah, your dad's not living with us. And I was like, okay. Like
that was probably more of a non-conversation than a conversation.
Yeah. Well, y'all's was kind of non-conversation too, right?
Well, no, I mean, we did sit down the kids down at dinner. I remember telling them, and you know, they were, you know, at the time about five and 9, and it was like the 5-year-old, no clue what that even means, right? But we wanted to have that conversation at a kind of an adult level, and you know, as much as they could understand, but like not get too kiddie on it, right? Mm-hmm. Telling them what that means, that we won't be living together anymore, and I'm getting a new place, and I'll be moving out, but not right now. You know, we have a process, and like, I think, you know, my older son he had seen some of this before with friends and stuff like that, so he was like, more like the shoulder shrug, okay, like whatever that means. I don't know what that means, but it hurt to tell them that. I know, even, you know, my ex, she said too, it was like it's hard conversation to have with him. Obviously, I always say, hey, like it wasn't a planned that we were going to get divorced, but we tried to make it work for a while. So it wasn't something that was like, you know, just spur of the moment, I'm angry, we're getting divorced.
They know too, especially if there's been arguing and fighting and strife in the house, whether you think you're hiding it from them or not, they know. My kids have always told me, God, y'all fought all the time. And, you know, they recollect things. I do want to add this though, too. One of the most important things I think you can do is to say that we love you no matter what. And this isn't because of you.
Yes.
And no matter what happens in our marriage, friendship, whatever, we love you forever and always, and that will never change. Yeah. Never.
I think that's a excellent, yeah, for sure.
So again, I think it's great to have an activity if you actually have to sit down and tell them. Just don't make it be some holiday thing where they remember forever. I feel really bad about that.
I go pick up your Easter eggs.
Yeah, I feel really bad about that. But lesson learned, and look, I learned that, and now I share it with everyone I talk to who asks, like, hey, I want other people to know, like, my kids remember that. And I asked them, like, what do you remember? What do you don't you remember? And they're like, oh yeah, every Halloween I hear it. Oh yeah, this is the time you told us we were getting divorced. And they laugh about it now, but I'm sure for a while they're like, oh, gee, thanks.
Yeah, I think that with all time, you know, with time things can become, you know, less painful. Yeah. But there's obviously still some seed in there that still like need to get worked out about.
She was like, for the rest of my life. Well, sorry. We made a mistake. We love you. Yeah. And it's not your fault. Exactly. And we just wanted to share that with you. So good luck to you. For those of you who have to tell your kids, pray first. I always pray first. Give you the right words to say. If you have faith, if you don't, find somewhere and pray about it. What do I need to say? Give me the strength. Give me a positive energy. Whatever it is you need. And take it from there.
Thanks and God bless.
That works too.